drafting?
I have no idea whatsoever.
Nice to finally get these guys in and get them in a little more intimate a setting after watching them from afar a while.
Yeah, this is always a good time to really learn who these guys are, not only as players but as people. You get them up close and you really get to know them on a personal level and see them interact with coaches and other staff members, and it's a lot of help to kind of see if they fit into the kind of guys that we're looking for.
Is that more important at this part in the process, given how much tape you've already watched on guys and how limited these workouts might be?
I wouldn't say it's more important, but it's definitely a big part of it. It's getting them here and getting them with the coaches and seeing how they read and react game situations, and then shooting stroke and all that kind of stuff is very important for these workouts. But the personal side of it is also it's key, because you're not only drafting basketball players, you're drafting men, and you want to come in and make sure that they're the kinds of people that you want to have around.
Has that part of the process changed at all in recent years? Like when Dylan was here, he was saying he thinks players are starting to recognize that isn't really important part, the interview part.
Yeah, maybe from their standpoint, they're taking more or putting more emphasis on it. I think for us, we've always taken that into account. Yeah, I think at the combine and here, like just really getting to pick their brains a little bit is something that we've always really put some importance in. And it's good that players are starting to recognize that, because they prepare for it a little better, and they know what to expect in terms of acting a certain way and presenting themselves in the part of it's like a job interview, so it helps a lot.
I know every year we sort of say, wouldn't it be nice if the draft were after free agency as opposed to before it? Is that any more the case this year, considering the questions about your roster going forward?
I don't really know how to answer that, because yeah, of course it would be. No, it would be helpful, but at the same time, it is what we deal with. It's the draft is, you almost have to keep the two things separate, and you approach the draft with what you expect your roster to look like and how guys will fit in. But honestly, almost every year when it comes down to draft night, you end up thinking to yourself, okay, who's the most talented player on the board, regardless of how they fit in our roster, and from there, talent almost always trumps positional need when it comes to the draft, to where if you're able to get someone that doesn't really fit what you're expecting, then you have the summer to kind of see how things line up and how to make it work.
What are the obstacles for a 25-year-old in the draft process this day and age?
I think it's definitely they've got a lot to show in terms of they have more to show, more to build on. I think so many people probably think that this is the player that he is, and it's on him to show that, no, I can still improve. And we've had a lot of success drafting seniors and bringing guys in that they just have the right mentality in terms of working hard and developing. And I think older players in the draft, they kind of, as long as they have that approach, they'll get better, just because of the amount of time that they can now put in the game and the level of coaches that they have around working with them.
How much more difficult is it to draft at the position you're doing now because of just the wide range of players? If you're a little higher in the lottery, then it must be a little bit easier. Is that true?
It's a lot more pressure up high, though, so then it becomes a little more difficult that way. But yeah, we've kind of been in this same range the last few years, and even when I was in Denver with Masai too, this is kind of the same area where we always seem to be drafting, and it's kind of one of those things where it's a good thing, because it means that that the main team's doing well, and it's just on us to dig a little deeper and find some guys who might slip through the cracks in terms of the lottery. But I wouldn't say it's easier, because it's always the pickings are slimmer. It's the pressure is a little bit less on hitting home runs in this range, but at the same time, every year there's always players from 20 to 60 who always make an impact in the NBA, and they end up being really good players, and so it's just on us to find those guys.
With only one pick late in the first round, do you feel a little more emboldened to maybe make what might be considered a reach by the consensus? I know last year Pascal was a little off board for you guys. Does having one pick inform that at all?
Not really. I think we kind of just go for players that we like as a staff. You know, it's almost all the mock drafts online and the consensus, you know, list that you see out there. We kind of don't listen to those at all, and if a guy that we really like we have in the 20s, but you know everyone else might think he's in the 50s, like we're going to take him in the 20s regardless of where we should take him. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, just that's the way we approach it, and it doesn't really matter whether it's 23 or, you know, 43. It's our one pick, and we'll try to make the best one we can.
Being a Canadian team, is there anything unique that you ask or look for that perhaps other teams might not?
No, as long as they have a valid passport, we're good to go. That's honestly, that's the biggest hurdle we have with half the kids, is just trying to get them up here, because you know most kids they either didn't think about having a passport or they haven't got to that point yet. So you know that's one of my main obstacles I deal with agents leading up to this. But other than that, no, it's, you know, we're still an NBA team, and we I think we have a lot of the similar values to a lot of successful teams out there when in terms of looking for players. And I think that when the kids get up here and they see our practice facility, they see the town, and they get to see a little bit about what basketball means to the city, I think more than anything they get energized in the thought of being a Raptor. So it's good.
Are there any traits or skills now that you're more zeroed in on now than you were when you were back in Denver, maybe, just based on how the game has changed or how your team has changed?
Yeah, I wouldn't say zeroed in on as much as, I mean, with the way the NBA is going, shooting is so important nowadays, to where I think you know, we probably put more value in making sure that from day one guys can come in and you know, maybe help in that situation. I mean, but that doesn't mean that that's why we pick guys. I mean, like Pascal and Jakob, like they haven't got to that point yet, but we believe that last year in the process that at some point those guys should be able to shoot
it. So you
and
sort of look at their mechanics
exactly.
and say, can we work with
this?
this?
And so I think this year we're kind of with a similar approach. You know, it's really important that in today's NBA, all 5 positions can offer some sort of stretchability in terms of shooting the ball, and I think that the more spacing that you can create out on the floor, the easier it makes the other job for everyone else. And so, you know, we do a lot of our workout, you know, tailored around, you know, our regular sets and the regular way that we play, and how they shoot the ball and decision make and pass the ball within that, you know, workout program. It helps kind of get a feeling for what these guys can do for us.